Hello everyone, I am Vishal and welcome to the Hollywood Reporter India. Today we're going to be talking about Mohanlal's Barroz, an earnest children's film that tries to take you back to the good old films we grew up on. But is that enough for kids and adults of today after we've seen the avatars of the world? I do not think so, despite the obvious effort that seems to have gone into the film. That's my short review. Now let's talk about the film in detail.
ഞാൻ ബറോസ് നൂറ്റാണ്ടുകളായി നിധി കാക്കുന്ന ഭൂതം.
Now, Barroz is a film that's not very easy to get into. It's not just about adjusting to the 3D, but it's also a film that was shot for 3D, which means that portions that are set in the real world have a very glossy feel to it because it's all so colorful and flat. It immediately gives you the feeling that you're watching something from a few years ago. But once you do get used to the look of the film, something changed, at least for me. You begin to buy into the vision because there's a lot of conviction that has gone into it. And somewhere in the process, I realized that I needed to watch it like I was watching a live action cartoon. This changed how I looked at the film, at least for a while. Take a character like the police officer played by Guru Somasundaram. His brief must have been to play it out loud and act clumsy. And when he sells that performance, it kind of reminded me of Thompson and Thompson from Tintin. It was the same with the character of a foreigner who plays the guide at the museum. Right from his outfit to his hat or the way he speaks, everything is dialed up to remind you of the cartoons we grew up watching. When you're able to buy into it, it manages to appeal to the child in you. I, for one, really enjoyed the underwater song in which we get to see Mohanlal take the form of an octopus, or even the manner in which a live action film transforms very organically into a fully animated song. But when things don't work, there's not much to hold on to either in terms of a storyline or characters worth investing in. I think the biggest issue is how much they've relied on a technology like 3D. Back when My Day Kuttachatan was made, back in the 80s, people did not even have televisions, let alone cable TV or the internet. To put this into perspective, the feeling of watching a 3D movie for the first time then was like the feeling we might feel today when we put on Apple's Vision Pro for the first time and experience a film made just for that. Even though I only saw the re-release of My Day Kuttachatan, I have read hundreds of accounts of people grabbing at the screen when one of the kids from the movie points an ice cream towards the audience or when balloons kept flying all around. People today are not that innocent anymore. And even when you're trying to make a film in 3D, why not use it for something original, at least in terms of the visuals? We get the same shots of a kid pointing at the screen or things being thrown at us. In one of these shots, we see the whole face of a black magician jumping straight at us. But because this frame itself was so brightly lit, I was not convinced if this was to make us feel afraid or impress us with the pop-out effect. And because so many earlier scenes have to cater to these 3D effects, the staging itself feels so sloppy and slow because it's forcing long pauses into the dialogues, making it feel very artificial. But is that enough to hold it all together? I think it could have been if the story was based on something fresh and awe-inspiring. But at least for me, in terms of structure, it was the same as that of both my childhood favorites, My Day Kuttachatan and O Fabi. Both films about a misunderstood kid finding a friend and solace in a fantastical being. Recurring ideas like that of a strict father, a clever sidekick, comedy scenes written around the idea of an invisible creature creating a mess have all been explored in such films before. And at times, it feels like the film is talking down to its core audience. Instead of thinking like a kid, it's as though the idea was to say, this is what kids today want. But at least for me, even when I'm trying to tell myself that this is supposed to be a kid's film, I realized that there's so much talk and so much exposition to hold the attention of actual kids. It's like the obsession with 3D overrode everything else, even more than the simple plot. Take the situation in which Isa, the central character, is magically given the guidance to sing in front of a big crowd. There are some nice ideas in there, like about how musical notes in 3D floating around to give her this talent. Not only does this impress all the guests, but her father's change in character and the affection she feels for her is decided on this emotional scene. But despite what this scene is supposed to do, we cut straight to another conflict without this scene having any impact on Isa. It felt like a song for song's sake. You feel this even in the way the film explores the past. In theory, it is meant to play out like a reincarnation drama with a guardian waiting for over 400 years to meet the girl he brought up. If this angle had been explored, there could have been something so emotional about a man so blinded by his love and loyalty that he's not left his place for centuries just to see this girl again. But apart from this one emotional angle, we get so many additions like that of her greedy father, a curse, a treasure he is guarding, black magic that it never focuses on one thread that really adds any value. And this is not a film meant for performances either. Be it the actor who plays Isabella or the other foreign characters in the film, we get the feeling that all the dialogues are shot from a distance. One, to impress us with the 3D, or because their lip sync is all over the place. Even Mohanlal doesn't get much to do except look like a Barroz. What we are left with is the kind of film that is made just to show you a particular new technology, like the clips you see in a planetarium or the museums we visited from school. Although I appreciate a superstar of Mohanlal's stature even thinking about making a film for kids, I wish he'd rework the writing for kids of today. I went in expecting My Dear Kuttichathan, but I came out remembering the day I watched Magic and Kocharayan. That's my review of Barroz. If you like this review, please hit like and subscribe to The Hollywood Reporter India.